Ano ulit yung name and yung kung ano po yung profession.
Okay.
Ayun lang po. Dito po kayo titingin sa
Sige.
1, 2, 3, rolling.
Okay, my name is Professor Jerry Villanueva Eusebio. I am a lecturer in political science here at De La Salle University. I also have studied at De La Salle University since grade 1, since grade school, and then my high school, I finished at La Salle Green Hills, and then I went back again here for my AB in History and Political Science. Later on, while working for Senator Honasan in the Senate, I enrolled back again here because it's near, no? I wanted to study in another school sana, but malapit din, dyan lang yung Senate. So I re-enrolled again, and I took up my MA in Development Policy with distinction here at this school again, and this was in 2002. That's why our former president then, Brother Gerardo said that I must have Greek God in me now. So anyway, I have served both the executive and legislative branches of government. I have worked for Senator Tolentino, the late Senator Tolentino, hindi nakilala yun, from 92 to 95, and then Senator Honasan from 95 to 2001. After that, I became campaign manager to Rojas in 2004, Bongbong Marcos in 2010, Rachel Arenas in 2007, and Apakada Party List 2013. So that's actually my weakness. No? I love running campaigns. I also have served the government as a presidential appointee by the former president Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo as director of DSWD from 2008 to 2009. And then I have been consultant to many personalities in government, undersecretaries, secretaries, Department of Interior and Local Government, as I said, as DSWD, the Office of the President, etc. Now I'm pretty old. I'm in my 50s, so I went back to my first love, which is teaching. So that's about it.
Thank you po, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Camera to rolling.
What are the effects of martial law to the Philippines then and now?
The effects of martial law to the Philippines then and now. When you're talking about martial law, you're talking about the period from 1972 when President Marcos declared martial law. That was September 21, 1972, some say September 23. Until its lifting, supposed to be, well, officially it was actually 1981, lifting of martial law, but some say officially it really just ended after the EDSA Revolution, which was February 23, I think, 22 or 23, 1986. So that is a 14-year period. So you're asking me what are the effects of martial law then and now. Okay, is that it? Okay. Well, maybe let's just go to the chronology of martial law. The first few years were said to be kind of successful in terms of the lowering of crime. The crime rate certainly fell. The economy was doing pretty well during the first few years, I recall, and I think some statistics would point to that. No? And well, especially in the realm of economics, no? and crime. However, of course, in the political end of it, a lot of effort was undertaken by government against two fronts, no? The secessionists, the Muslim secessionists, which actually started maybe 3 or 4 years earlier, and of course the communist insurgency. So in that sense, politically, there was actually a civil war, but actually more very much confined in the provinces and not felt in Metro Manila. So therefore, in terms of peace and order, there are areas where it was terrible. There was war going on. But in terms of peace and order in the urban areas, like in Metro Manila, Metro Cebu maybe, and other, it wasn't felt. So there was some sort of should I say, improvement in terms of crime reduction, as well as in the economy. Today, what are the effects of martial law? Well, there are lots of angry people who were victimized during martial law, because remember, it was an authoritarian regime, and it was being an authoritarian regime, a lot of rights were supposedly violated, no? And some were jailed. If you were against the government, if you were against Marcos, then you go to jail. So these people, of course, are hurting now, especially, should I mention that, for instance, just was it today or just yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled that Marcos can be buried now in the libingan ng mga bayani. So a lot of people are against it, but these are just a minority.
Number two, based from the interview answers of millennials, they are much more open to the idea and concept of martial law. What could be the reasons behind it?
Well, probably because the millennials like you, like my students and like you, most of my students, almost all of them, perhaps have heard lots of stories from their parents and from their maybe grandfathers, grandmothers, or parents, their elders, that martial law was not really altogether bad, in the sense that if you were not really politicized, you were not actually affected by martial law. As a matter of fact, if you interview older people also, it's very funny, because the younger people like you, the millennials, and the very old, they're not very old, but the senior citizens are kind in agreement, in the sense that they'd rather have a martial law type of government or an authoritarian government than have a democracy, but without any food on the table. That's the problem, because some would argue that before, even though times could be hard for those who are politicized, there was still food on the table. But today, even if you have all the freedom in the world to do what you like, getting by or having, let's say, 3 decent meals a day would sometimes be hard to get by. So those are the, and then also, millennials would be also tired of hearing sad stories about corruption, a never-ending story, and more of the same kind of politics. Remember, since 86, 30-year period na eh, di ba? It has been 30 years since democracy has been restored, di ba? But what happened? Did our lives improve? Those are the questions.
Do you think that the 40-year gap of martial law during the Marcos regime could be a big factor why millennials view and understand martial law differently? Why yes, why no?
Can you clarify what do you mean by the 40 years? 40 years from where?
Yung simula po sir nag-trigger yung martial law, yung 40-year gap.
1972 yun. Oh, and then?
Yung time.
And then ngayon?
Yes, sir.
That's 44 years.
44 years.
Okay, to be exact. 2016 ngayon. Okay, during that 44-year gap, so your question is, parang wala nangyari? Or, can you please repeat your question?
Do you think that the 44-year gap of martial law during the Marcos regime could be a big factor why millennials view and understand martial law differently?
Yes, because had martial law had democracy upon its restoration in 1986 been successful, what I'm talking about is, for instance, Cory was able to catapult the country into greatness. And let's say everybody is now like we're living, let's say the Philippine demographics would be, or economic data would be similar to, let's say, South Korea, then all of us would be maybe condemning martial law and hating martial law. But nothing happened there. Nothing happened. What I'm trying to say is, during that 44-year gap, and as a matter of fact, the last 30 years, from 86, since Cory was restored, doon mo dapat tignan eh. Dahil doon na bumalik ulit yung democracy kuno. Bumalik naman talaga, no? Ang tanong eh, ano nangyari? Anyari, di ba sabi? Anyari, mula 86 hanggang 2016, 30 years soon. That's one generation. Nothing. What happened? Okay, nagpalit tayong presidente, we had Ramos, we had Erap, we had Gloria, and then Pinoy. So, Aquino to Aquino, right? But what happened? I mean, anyari, sa 30 years na yun. So, parang wala. Ang tawag namin doon, I coined the term, I call it more of the same. More of the same. Parang ulit-ulit lang, more of the same politics. Parang yung ulam natin, yun na naman, parang gano'n. It doesn't change, pero more of the same politics. Different heads, and then different dogs, ang tawag yung same collar. Ano yun? Different, meron silang tawag dun eh. Different dogs with the same collar. Yeah.
Most millennials answer that they want the concept of martial law because of the discipline and order it brings. Do you think that in the current situation of the Philippines, it is necessarily to declare martial law?
Well, not really. Yes. Well, yes and no. Because I agree with you that it is when you declare martial law, definitely you're talking about more or less an authoritarian form of government with decreased freedom. Konti lang naman, mga curfew lang, you cannot, you maybe will have a fewer media, maybe a little bit of censorship here and there. But I remember I was already a teenager during martial law. I mean, it was livable. It was actually cool, unless you were really a politician, you could go against Marcos, etc. You were for democracy, etc. So I'd say that yes, it's okay. But you do not really have to declare martial law in order to have that. If you have a very good president who's not corrupt, who can control corruption, and who can really put a stop to criminality, the rising criminality, especially the narco politics that we have today. I'm talking about Duterte, of course. I'm no apologist for Duterte. I did not. As a matter of fact, I did not. Should I say this? If I voted for him or not? No, maybe not. No? But the way I see it, since we have to support him, and the way I also listen to his speeches, etc., I think he may be able to discipline the country without even having to declare martial law. No need.
Sir. Number 5. Well, how would you think millennials would react if martial law was implemented today?
Like what you said, I think the millennials would even go for it. Because I also observed that a lot of millennials are sick and tired of, democracy but without food. Diba? Democracy but corruption is still there. Diba? So I do not think they will mind. I think they will observe. But of course, if the millennials feel that the new order or the new government is...
Sir, what do you think what Filipinos need to do to improve the current situation of the Philippines?
Okay, number one would be more vigilance. But I see the vigilance in the social media, kita-kita naman. I mean, what is lacking before, I mean, in terms of vigilance or in terms of monitoring what's happening, is actually undone or undertaken by the social media. No? So, not very much on that. Maybe I may suggest that the Freedom of Information Act be passed para mabantayan yung mga gastos ng gobyerno, yung mga transactions, etc. para baka makakawala na naman at gumawa na naman ng malalaking kalokohan. What else? I suggest that when we vote, we should actually try to see to it that the candidates that we vote for are really, meant for the positions that they aspire for. Because sometimes we vote candidates who are not ready for their jobs. And that's about it. Actually, today, it's very hard to get away from the eyes of the government, diba? Or the eyes of the people, because everybody's looking at each other's performance, mainly through social media. Grabe, like Facebook, for instance, is always sometimes one step ahead. No? Minsan naloloko mo pa konti-konti, pero pangalawang araw, huli nga na agad. Like for instance, look at Dilemma, or I call her Dilemma. Di ba? Talagang dilemma siya ngayon. Kahit tatawa-tawa siya paminsan-minsan, next day, huli, oy, ikaw ha, di ba? Parang alam namin ang ginagawa mo. And then next, so parang naghihina na naman so mag-iisip na naman siya ng bagong gimmick. No? So, iba-iba ngayon eh. That because of the advent of high technology, smartphones, social media, hirap. You have Twitter, you have miski nga yung Rappler, kawawa sila. Hindi mo pwede yung mga, they can manipulate the media. It's very hard to manipulate the media now. Very hard. Miski yung mga memes lang, you cannot just buy it. Before you can fool the people. Sabi nga ni Abraham Lincoln ba yun, you can fool the people sometime, you can fool most people most of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Now, social media is helping us not to be fooled all the time. On that notes, thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Thank you po. Sir, ano na lang po,
Okay.
last na lang po.
Sure.
Sabihin niyo po